Wait, we're going to go. Okay.
Okay.
So 3.
2.
Oh.
1. Good Lord, Mary. You have 2 numbers.
I haven't even started drinking. Okay. 3,
2.
1.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast, No More Secrets. As always, I'm your niece, Katie Albrecht.
And I'm your aunt, Mary Albrecht. Today's topic is it's in the little things. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I had an experience that was completely unexpected. And it was a small thing, but it made me really happy in the moment. And I realized, again, and I've realized this before, that there are so many small joys around us on a regular basis. And we kind of need to learn to focus on those because the big things can be really bad and they just happen to you. Like big things like cancer, pandemic,
We have no
heart
experience
failure,
with any of that.
Abuse,
Yeah.
alcoholism, all those things happen to you. You don't make them happen, and they happen out of the blue usually, or they happen sustained out of the blue. But the little things, or the positive big things like weddings and parties and just get-togethers, period, you have to plan them. So it's really the little small things that are there all the time that can kind of counterbalance the big bad things.
And sometimes go unnoticed, too.
And they go unnoticed, right. And I just want to give you an example, okay? So, and then we can kind of expand on that. But I think we could all use a little bit of joy even in the little things right now. So on Thursday night, I went to see Grandpa and Pat, and I'm laughing because it's just so cute. And I walk into their room, and Grandpa's asleep, and Pat is sitting there holding a stuffed puppy. And she goes, "Mary, look, this is my new friend." And I said, "Oh," and she said a couple of her old neighbors, a couple of lady friends had dropped off a Valentine's gift at the front desk for her, which was a stuffed animal that came with the chocolates that they picked out. And it turns out the name of the stuffed animal is called Coco the Love Pup. And it's a fluffy little cocoa-colored puppy with big eyes just staring at you, and it's got a rose in its teeth. and Pat just my dad's girlfriend, Pat, was so smitten with this thing that it became a thing. I just went to visit, and she was sitting there petting it, and once I got settled down and started talking to her, I'd say, well, what do you guys want to do on Sunday? And she'd look at me and say, "I don't know." And then she'd turn to Coco and say, "What do you think, Coco?" And then I'd say, "Oh, well, that's sweet. You're talking to her." "Well, it seems like he's talking to me. Look, he's looking right at me. He's so sweet." And then she pet him again and all that. And so we kept talking. And then, she'd turn right back and say, "Isn't that right, Coco?" And it's like Coco.
Just having a full conversation with an inanimate object.
Yeah, it became a thing. It was like.
It's kind of like Toy Story. Like they have souls in it.
Yeah, yeah. And so I kind of picked up on it. So then all of a sudden, because I went in a really bad mood. It's a crappy February here in Illinois. It's just been snowing and cold and snowing and cold and snowing and cold. And we're still doing the pandemic thing. And I don't know, I've got a lot of stuff with Terry's health. So it's just, I didn't really want to drag off and see Grandpa at 7 o'clock at night on a Thursday in the dark.
That seemed strange. Like it seemed like something you would usually avoid.
Well, I would try to go earlier, but I just didn't because I got so much to catch up on all the time.
Yeah,
but
you got a lot of life.
And I had canceled on Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night for various reasons because of Terry. So I felt like I had to go, and Pat looks forward to it because, Grandpa isn't a lot of company. He sleeps all the time. So anyway, I picked up on it and I said, "Wow." I said, "You really love that dog?" She goes, "I really love the dog." And I'm like, "Well, do you think it's male or female?" So she takes the puppy and she turns it over and she's looking to see like if she could find out. And then Grandpa wakes up and says, "They don't make stuffed animals like that." And then he goes back to sleep, And she goes, "Well, I'm still making it a male." So it's a
Sometimes
he dog.
You can just tell, yeah.
You can just tell.
When you're looking at the stuffed animal, you can tell that it's a male or female.
A male coming to the female with the rose in the mouth, right? It's Valentine's Day. It all makes sense.
It's kind of funny that you say that because a couple years ago, actually, the first Valentine's Day with my fiance, Matt, he got this like really cute stuffed animal elephant for me.
Okay.
And I thought it was really sweet because elephants are my favorite animal. He paid attention to it. Like, I was like,
Oh,
oh,
okay. So I
wow,
remembered.
this is nice. And we we ended up naming him. We knew it was a him. His name was Dr. Trunk. And before we had a real pet, so we have a cat now. This elephant was like our son. We would get mad if he wasn't tucked in at night. You know, even Matt was getting in on it too. Like, we treated it like this was our baby Dr. Trunk.
Dr. Trunk.
Yeah, it was not a cute name. Matt came up with that.
Oh, here's our kitty. Maybe our kitty
Here's
can
a
be
real
on
one, yeah.
camera. So
We'll
anyway,
see.
so then I took pictures of Pat with Coco the love pup, and I sent it to two of her kids that are in the area that I know real well. And I said, I'm in a 3-way conversation with your mom and a stuffed animal. I said, but don't worry, it's all good, you know. And then somebody wrote back, oh, that's so cute. And hi, Bella. This is natural.
Hi,
this
kitty
is
cat.
how we are here at the loft. I don't know if she's in the picture, but you know, she usually claws. Like, did she try to lift her up?
Yeah, she usually gives me too. But come here.
See, it's in the little things like Bella.
The little thing like the cat's meow, right?
It's the cat's meow.
Okay, you can go.
Okay. Anyway,
Bye. Okay, bye.
so I tried to pick her up. She'll probably leave. Anyway, just disregard that. And so then I said, you know, oh, it's really cute or whatever. And then I said, oh my gosh, I said, your mom just asked Coco to go to bed with her. And I said,
Scandalous.
my dad's been replaced. And then Chuck writes back, I get that a lot. That happens to me all the time. I don't know what that means. He's been replaced by a stuffed animal. So that was funny and everything. And then Grandpa, all of a sudden, when she was talking to Coco again, and Grandpa wakes up and says, I don't think so. And I'm not talking to you, Al. I'm talking to Coco. And he falls back asleep. And then a couple minutes later, he wakes up and he says to me, "Who's
Someone
she?"
get this guy some caffeine. He needs to stay awake.
Oh, he's so old, Katie. He's asleep all the time unless stimulated. That's the end of life. It really is. It's so sad.
Right.
He can't even. He even falls asleep in the middle of a bite of food.
I mean, I've done it, but I've also was drunk at 2 a.m.
Yeah, he's like drunk. Yeah.
He's like drunk.
And then he looks at me and goes, "Who's she talking to?" And I said, "She's talking to Coco the love pup, Dad." And I could see the confusion because I just said it to him so serious. Coco the love pup. And he just fell back asleep again. So
Like, okay, I don't care about this. I'm going down.
yeah. And so it just was like a really happy hour because we were just having so much fun with it. Then she put it back in the bag for a while. I'm like, no, you can't put him back in the bag. That's rude. You can't. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I was on my way home, I was like happy. And it wasn't really that happy of a thing going to see my dying dad in an assisted living.
And it wasn't a big moment either. It was
and
like
it wasn't,
little...
and it just, here's Coco the love pup, and it changed everything because of the way that I embraced it, the way Pat embraced it, the way the people around me, except for Grandpa, embraced it, meaning the kids that I texted to, and everybody chimed in, and it became happy. And I started to think again about it really is in the little things, just, for example, if we're going to talk about Valentine's Day, every Valentine's Day, I have a customer whose husband gets her and her 2 daughters a singing toy from Walgreens or Walmart or whatever. And there was one that was a giraffe, and it sang, "Your love is lifting me higher." And when it said higher, its neck went up. And I brought it here, and it became a thing in February, and everybody thought it was so cute, and it just became sort of part of the vernacular. And we laughed, but it was such a small thing, but it made people smile, And so I started to think about a lot of different things like that and realize it's really important to constantly, like, I try to tell stories to my customers that are just small things, but they're funny, that somebody said to me, and then we laugh because of it. And it's just a way, because it's always there, and it can happen even if you're like on your deathbed. You can still smile and laugh. And I thought, let's maybe bring about some of those kind of memories again, and examples.
It's interesting that you say that. I just remembered of a friend whose girlfriend's mom had unfortunately passed away with cancer, and she was in the hospital at the end of her life and everything, and my friend looked at her and was like, "How you doing today?" With like a big smile, trying to make it things normal as possible. And she couldn't really talk as much at that point, but she looked at him and went with like a big thumbs up and was like, still had a little bit of wherewithal to like, have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And he said that story, and it was such a small little moment, and yet I was touched by it. I was like, oh, that's really cool. I've met this person once, the one that passed away, but I was like, that's really sweet. Like, she was actually still kind of with it at towards the end.
Yeah, and it's important to share those stories too, and then somebody else shares it, and it becomes just kind of a joyous little way to put some good into the world instead of only waiting for big things like, oh, my kid graduated, or oh, it's my birthday, or whatever. No, there's fun little things all day long, and so I think it's important to share them. I mean, for instance, today I was trying to get the cameras started here because we're new on YouTube now, so we have to set up this first time.
This was a 3-hour ordeal
to set up our cameras ourselves.
This was the first time by ourselves. I think we did great, but it took us a long time.
But then I couldn't figure out how to turn mine on, and we finally had to go on video chat with our marketing producer team, and he looked at what I was doing and he says, "Mary, you are pressing the record button. You need to press the on button." And after all that time, it was like, oh.
Well, that makes sense why it was recording and then going away again. Yeah.
Just things like that happen. And then just another thing I shared with people today, that I have a client that said today that, she's getting kind of forgetful. For instance, she had a dentist appointment, but then an appointment at work came up, and it was at the same time as the dentist appointment. So she canceled her dentist appointment, but then when the time for the work appointment came up, she forgot to go.
I feel like I've been there. Or something similar,
Yeah, something similar, So we all have little things like that, but just bizarre things about being human that just, I don't know, create a lot of laughter.
Yeah, so. And I think that's been, especially this past year when everyone's been kind of, our big moments have been taken away from us. Weddings have been taken away, concerts and even just bars, just bars. I mean, birthday parties in general. Like they're just all been taken away. I think we've all been kind of forced to appreciate the little things and the simple moments in life a little bit more.
Yep, I think it's been a good wake up call for that.
It totally has. I think of, when we got our cat, and I've told you how I come home from work every day.
Oh, that's another one that makes me laugh.
It's just one of those little idiosyncrasies that you have with your household, where I'll come in, and this started because the cat would always meow. Lando would always meow at me and wait by the door. It's really cute, actually.
Yeah, it is. I've seen it on video.
Yeah, it's real sweet. He'll look out the front window, see my car come in, and then run over to where the garage door.
Oh, that's so smart.
He's almost like a dog.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah.
But he would do that, and he would let out like a little meow. So then I would just, instead of saying, "Hi, Lando," like I did in the beginning, it morphed into, "Wow." Like I would start,
wow, wow, wow.
I would start mimicking him.
Yeah.
Because I call him Lil Wow Wow, because he makes little wows.
Yeah.
Wow noises. So I would start mimicking him, and then he would meow back, and then the two of us were meowing, and then after a while, Matt started joining in, so then the three of us are all meowing at each other. And that's how we greet each other when I come home, is we're all meowing from different parts of the room.
And she played a video, and she walks in, and there's the cute cat. Wow. And then I hear Katie's voice, and then from another room I hear wow from
a little
Matt.
Deeper pitched. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's like, that's just such a sweet thing, like it's a weird thing, and it would only make sense to Matt and I, as it comes in, that it just happens. We don't acknowledge it or whatever, but it is like one of those sweet moments that we learned from this past year, when we all we do is come home,
Yeah, and that kind of sets the tone too for at least the first part of the evening. And I'm home, I can be me. This is what we have in common. And I do want to say, we never had that growing up. In fact, here's Pat talking to Coco, the love pup, which I love saying that, and in one of Grandpa's wake-up things, he says, "That's dumb," and he went back to sleep. And I'm like, you know what? It's not dumb.
Let her have her joy.
Yeah, like it's not dumb to talk to a stuffed animal. It's not dumb to laugh. It's not dumb to meow.
It's not dumb to laugh. I actually think that's a really good point because some people get so like, I don't know if self-righteous is the word, but they look down on people for laughing at things that they don't think is funny.
Yeah, or
And
they
then
don't ever laugh.
Or they just don't laugh. I've met a lot of people that don't laugh.
Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, why look down on people that find maybe something really goofy funny? You know, like it brings them joy, makes them happy. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
who cares? You know,
And laughing is actually considered really healthy. So,
even if it's about something you think is quote unquote weird, you know, it's just who you are. It's what represents you.
And typically if you're laughing, you're in what's called a meditative state. So if we want to bring the health aspect around to it, mental and physical, meditation is simply the act of being in the moment. Not thinking about what worrying about what you have to do in the future. I got to go do this. I got to do that. Not having remorse about your past or something you said or did, but just truly in the moment, but like completely, like not, it has to be, almost 100% for it to have the health benefits that it needs. So I really feel like when you're completely engaged with somebody and something is so funny and you just start cracking up, that for that moment you have broken the stress cycle. You're not thinking about anything except for that laughter at that moment. You've broken what's called the stress cycle, which breaks the chain of the stress response of the body, which causes disease and pain. So, and you look like you're gonna laugh.
Well, 'cause I'm thinking of like all those memories. We've had memories like this where it's like that connection you have with another person where you both find something so funny, and then the whole fact that you guys are both laughing so hard makes it funnier, and then it keeps spiraling like that.
Oh yeah.
And it's like the best feeling in the world because it doesn't. I think as an adult, it doesn't happen as much as like when you were like a teenager or a kid or something.
Right.
But it's when it does happen, it's like it's just the greatest thing ever. Where you're, for me, when I'm laughing really hard, that's when I make no sound. The no sound laughs is when you know that it's like it's legit. Like I can't breathe. I'm laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you even have a ab soreness the next day.
Oh,
'cause
yeah,
it works your abs, And
laughing's good for your body
and for your mind, So you don't have to lay down on the floor and put your fingers together and meditate.
Yeah.
That works for some people, but for me,
But you don't have to.
You don't have to be meditative. Anything can be meditative. If you're really intense on playing a guitar and you're really into the song and you're really focusing on it, that's meditative. When you're in the moment like that. In terms of the stress response, that's meditative. It breaks the stress cycle. It breaks the disease cycle of worrying about, which is normally usually the past or the future. Even if you're worrying in the present, it's about something that may happen 30 seconds from now, which is really the future. You know what I mean? Because right now things are okay in this second, so.
Oh man, we're getting pretty deep
it's
here.
Pretty deep.
It's very philosophical in a way, but it does make sense though, because anything other than, how do you actually stay in the actual present? Because you're always kind of moving into the future. You know what I mean?
I think you need a healthy balance of it, because obviously you need to sometimes think about, what you got to do next, so.
I think even, some people, how like watching videos is kind of a new thing, like TikTok, or maybe you don't know TikTok, but I know TikTok.
Well, you showed me a couple, but.
Yeah, there's like people that scroll through TikTok, or it used to be YouTube before TikTok was a thing, or Vine was another big one. People kind of, I know that we've talked about it having its negative effects, social media, but it also can have its positive effects too, because you're literally in the moment and you're just watching these videos that make you laugh or entertain you, and they're just it can be a form of self-soothing, I guess.
Yeah, and definitely just mindless. People talk about binge watching a show.
Oh, that's another one, like watching Netflix over and over again.
Yeah, or shopping, mindlessly just scrolling through Amazon or whatever. Same thing with TikTok, just
TikTok is dangerous because it's less than a minute
Okay.
for the videos.
And so
And you
yeah,
think, oh, I could just watch a couple, and then 2 hours go by, and then you've watched 20 videos or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's like
so it kind of sucks you in.
it
Yeah.
sucks you
It's
in.
supposed to
Yeah.
be just a minute, but not 20 of them.
Oh, but let me keep going. Oh, just one more. Oh, just one more. And
Yeah.
then you look at the clock, and it's an
Yeah.
hour later.
I have that happen a lot to me. Different things,
I was gonna say, you're on TikTok.
No, not on TikTok.
What's your at? I'm just kidding.
Is that what it's called?
It's your profile, but okay.
What's your at?
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Is that like a hashtag?
You're close, but it's just it's at your name. It's like your username.
Oh, okay. I might be called Mary.
We'll see
I've
if
heard
it's
that's
available.
good. Yeah.
I'll see if Mary is available for TikTok. Just Mary.
Just Mary.
I'll hit you up with it.
Oh. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of other little things, other small joys. There's material things. I like to get I got this great body pillowcase that's bright yellow with polka dots, and I just love it.
Where?
For on my top of my bed. It's a body pillow that helps my my posture when I sleep and stuff. But then I have it up on the bed with the pillows in front of it when I make the bed, and I just love that yellow polka dot thing. It's so cheerful. It makes me happy, and it's a small thing, but I remember just thinking, this room could use a pop of yellow, and it's easy to do, right? And it's cheap. I mean, that was nothing. And so on that note, I'll just say that my dear husband, dying or not, it doesn't matter in this case, because he took one of my throw rugs in my foyer and cut it in half.
Ooh.
He ruined it.
Terry, what are you doing, man?
So we, it's been a snowy winter, and we've got all this salt, mostly from the dogs, because the people usually wipe their feet or take their shoes off, or the dog, or whatever. Anyway, so it's hurting the grout, and I understand that. So he needed to put runners in the foyer, because the salt is eroding away at the color on the grout and all of that. So he put runners in, but he ran out of like a foot of depth or whatever of runner. So rather than go get more runner or just take the throw rug and put it underneath or over, he cut it to fit in that one little 1 by 2 foot area that was missing from the other color.
And how did you feel about that?
So I was upset.
Tell me everything.
I was upset about the runners to start, because it felt very institutional, and I didn't know they were doing it. Okay. But then it was like, okay, I understand the reason. But then the next morning, I look at my rug, and I love these little rugs. They're 2 and they match. And I got them at Burlington right before they closed. The Burlington down here closed.
Yeah.
And they were, Terry says they're a dime a dozen, but I loved the pattern, and I thought they were good quality, and they were cheap because it was closing, and I just thought I scored. And it was just one of those things that made me really happy when I walked in my foyer.
Right.
And so I just went to Terry. I said, "Did you cut my rug in half?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, it didn't fit." And I said, "Why did you need to use it at all?" "Well, we didn't have anything else." "Well, why didn't you put it on top?"
If they're a dime a dozen, why don't you go get one?
Well, he said that later. And
Okay.
then he's, because he thought it was just a regular, it probably might be, but anyway. And then he said, I said, people will trip on it. And I said, "Well, why didn't you put it underneath?" "Well, that looks stupid." And I said, "But you ruined my rug. You cut it in half." He's like, "I feel like you should have asked me that. I feel very violated about my throw rug."
And you're kind of particular about your stuff, too.
OCD, controlling, and I had a
I was
very
minimizing again.
I know, thank you. But I had a very bad day too that day, and then the next morning I was like not hungover, but hungover from stress or whatever. And so I just got fixated on this rug, and he says his guys both said, "I wouldn't do that, boss. Don't cut that rug in half," because they know me really well. And he's like, "It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We'll buy her another one. There's plenty of them like that out there."
Yeah.
And so then, it became such a huge thing that we had this fight and whatever. And then I took the rug up because I'm like, I need to take this and I need to look right now and find a duplicate on Amazon. And I got obsessively looking on Amazon. So this is a way that a little thing can be negative.
Well, or it was taking away your little thing that was positive.
Well, don't cut something of mine in half. Something of mine. I mean, I know we live together, but that was my thing. I mean, he even knew that because he tried to replace those rugs. I'm like, no, I like those rugs here. And could I just have a win on this? These two rugs are heavy. They stick. They match. They're gray. They look good. Can we just keep those? And he knew I really liked him, and he cut it in half. And I just feel like
he should have asked.
He could have texted.
But you would have said no.
I would have said no.
So like him asking really didn't really matter at that point because you would have said no anyway.
Easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. There's a saying that goes
right
with that. So anyway, he said he got the other part, the part that was cut, that it wasn't using the scrap, and he gave it to his guys, and he said it's their mission to go find two exactly the same.
Well, I mean, at least he makes up for it.
He tried.
He is trying to ask for forgiveness in a way.
That's probably a guy thing too, in that, it's just, this is functional. It makes sense. And it's just a throw rug, and it's not it wasn't expensive. I mean, it was maybe $20 each.
Yeah.
On sale, but they were like $30-something throw rugs, which is a lot for a throw rug that you bring, mud in on. I don't know.
I mean,
I can't really quite.
Don't touch Mary's things.
That's not really all it comes down to, right?
Yes, and then when it comes to the technology, Mary's not supposed to touch that. So
she put me in a timeout today. She took the phone away from me.
Well, because we were FaceTiming, or not FaceTiming because he doesn't like iPhones. We were FaceTiming Travis.
Oh, right. That was a whole nother discussion.
A whole other discussion. No, but we were video calling Travis, and he was like, telling us about turning the recording button instead of the power and everything. And then she was going back and forth to me and then her, to me, then her. And I was like, okay, you're losing your phone privileges because
long ways, short ways, upside down, get us both in.
Doing cartwheels with the phone and everything.
Are you getting dizzy, Travis?
I just, nope.
Your phone privileges are suspended.
Your phone privileges are suspended, yes.
And that's like Shane, Travis's brother. He says, Mary, don't touch anything.
Don't touch anything, because when you touch
technology-wise, yeah.
Technology-wise, it doesn't work out.
Yeah. So there you go.
But you've come a long way, so I'll give you that.
Well, now, I mean, I actually learned how to take the little card out and put it in the SD reader, and I don't know. Anyway, small things.
She's talking about memory cards.
Okay.
For anyone who's wondering.
But yeah, so I feel like our family missed out on a lot of those small moments, because when, at least my family growing up, I think you kids had it because you had each other to laugh and do little things like that with.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think most of the small moments were overrun by really, really big bad moments.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, the happier we got, the meaner Ken got, as when I was growing up. Like, he
and the same
just
for us
couldn't
too.
take it.
He didn't like when other people were happy. He liked to take it away.
Yep.
But as far as me and my siblings, we definitely had moments of, I mean, when I was talking about the no sound laughter, I mean, me and Sarah have had plenty of that. I think we lost one of our cameras, but that's
okay.
That's okay. Yeah. So we had like little moments, me and my siblings did. Especially me and Sarah, we've had those like laughing moments where you can't breathe,
that we were just talking about.
Yeah, that you're like, it just keeps escalating because you can't breathe while you're laughing, so then you laugh more and more and everything. So I feel like we definitely had moments like that. Me and Joe, I think we also, through games and sports and stuff, had the same we had moments,
Yeah. And I know that you did have that one, the Christmas before he died, you were able to actually get a family event together with small things.
Yeah.
That ended up being so simple but so joyous.
But a good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually wrote about it in Broken Neck, which is why I have it here. How convenient.
And here.
Didn't stage that or anything.
But if you want to quickly explain it and then read your feeling on it, it was pretty cool.
Well, I mean, so I talked about this in the book, but then also I think, on an episode at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the year before my dad died. It was the last Christmas we actually had with him. I didn't know that, obviously. But I set up a game instead of buying presents. It was a game that I had learned at camp that you just collect the items around you, and it was kind of like you use it as like charades and like different
putting
activities.
on shows, right?
Yeah,
Kind
you
of
had to do little skits. It's just like you pull something out of the hat and then you act out whatever it is.
and then you have judges.
And then you have judges, yeah.
Yeah.
And we put on this game. Me and my sister were the judge, and then Joe and his girlfriend at the time, and then my mom and my dad all were on teams. So then the boys and the girls.
Okay.
And it was one of the happiest moments. It was the best Christmas, I think,
That you probably ever remember.
with him,
Yeah.
with my dad.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was so engaged, and he was like, it was like for one night, he forgot about all his problems.
And he wasn't worried. He wasn't anxious, and he wasn't in, past remorse or whatever.
Yeah, and he wasn't angry. I mean, they've all been about him, but this one was better, and it wasn't because of anything that I bought. It was something it was just an experience.
It was an experience with small little props.
With small little props that I found around the house. Yeah, you can be amazed what you can find creatively and everything.
And it was the best Christmas ever with the least that you ever bought for anybody.
Yeah,
So
it was
what does
really
that
nice.
tell you?
And
Yeah.
for it being his last Christmas, it was kind of nice that
That you have that.
yeah, I can hold on to that.
And you created it. I mean, you came up with it, and people at first were like,
I learned about it at camp. Yeah. Oh yeah,
But
they
at
rolled
first
their eyes.
Yeah, you didn't create it, but meaning you came up with the idea for that night. So
Right. So, I mean, I was going to read just a little excerpt because it kind of goes along with our topic, and then we can probably wrap
it up because we spent so much time trying to figure out how to turn on the camera. Me.
Mary, don't touch anything. Okay, so I set the scene a little bit. And in Broken Neck, I wrote, the game goes on with more stunts like creating your own team cheer to best boy band impression, and all of us are crying with laughter the rest of the night. I take a minute to look around at the joy in the room and feel so pleased I was able to bring this game to them. If someone were to look in the window in this particular moment, they wouldn't think of the horror that had occurred here. They would see a healthy family. For a moment, I am filled with hope. While there has been a lot of sadness and anger between us, maybe we will actually be all right. And it was the simple things,
Yeah. And it never happened with us, with him, ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you had that. And he really laughed.
He laughed. He was real competitive. He was goofy. Like, it was a side of him I've seen. I could probably count on 10 on my two hands, combined.
And didn't he try to look really sexy or something, like wiggle and dance or something?
We did it. One of them was like best fashion runway, and he put on like a bunch of props or whatever, and then did like a little butt shake. He walked down the aisle and was doing swinging his hips, and then shook his butt at the end, and then turned around and
oh my gosh,
crying. Literal tears were coming down my eyes and everything because it was so funny.
I'm so glad. Oh my gosh. So
yeah. So I guess what we're trying to get across with this episode is that there are bad things happen all the time, and even though that's the case, we are also surrounded by these moments in life that make life good as well.
And they're small, but added up, they become big enough.
They become a whole picture
to give you happiness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the face of cancer and, all the stuff we talked about.
Abuse and, all that stuff.
Right. And so I think that's important for us right now, especially as we finish up this pandemic and finish up winter and deal with, dying Terry, that we keep laughing, right? And I am, and it's okay. So it's giving me strength and breaking the stress cycle. So we hope the same for all of you listeners.
Definitely.
All right.
I think we can wrap it up.
Make it a simple ending.
Simple ending. We're simple.
We're simple folk. Oh, shucks.
Okay, we're going to be real simple right now.
So it's okay. Yeah, simple. Simple.
revert back to cavemen.
Simple is as simple does. Is that Forrest Gump?
Yes.
Or something like that.
So yes, but it's a different quote, and I can't. It's blanking on me.
Okay.
But great movie.
Okay. Simple.
Well, anyways, thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.
See you.
Bye-bye.